Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, September 26, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread? First two cards we are starting our day off with today are the Eight of Cups in its upright in combination with the Six of Swords in its upright. We're back, like this is like we're back into retrograde central, basically. Let me walk you through a little bit about what we've been seeing energetically. So the thing about that eclipse cycle that we just moved through is that it was very incongruous energy. And the reason that we're articulating that it was incongruous is due to the fact that eclipses don't typically have a certain a certain feeling that they bring to things. They're amplifiers. They just amplify the energetic feeling that the eclipse moves towards. We entered that eclipse cycle during a very, very heavy retrograde cycle. I keep on being asked by those I work with and those I do, like my clients, like, when is this eclipse? Like, when is this retrograde season ending? And the answer is as slowly as it began. Like, these planets did not all just hit a switch and go into retrograde at the same time. They're going to unspool out of retrograde in the same determinative fashion by which they all built up into it. And so there is, like, I like to stretch, like, this is a very long stretch of planets and planetary bodies that we're currently experiencing that are going through that retrograde cycle. This can create a lot of work in the space of, and given the fact that they're also, a lot of them are retrograding in Aries, it's working through energetic frustration. It's working through the spaces by which we get upset at the self. I would not be surprised as well with the fact that we've got Neptune and Saturn both in retrograde together, working through timing issues. Because a lot of that, like a lot of the space by which we see Neptune and Saturn in such close proximity, it can create a lot of the frustration as it relates to time or doing things or getting kind of ahead of the self. Now, one of the things that is a little bit of an easement point that we're currently experiencing potentially has to do in the realm of the fact that we've moved into Libra season. It's not to say that one sign is better than another, but the thing about this type of energy, having gone through it in Virgo season, is Virgo energy often works towards trying to seek perfection. And so again, if you're kind of going through that modality or you're feeling a lot of the frustration as it relates to circumstances that don't feel like they're ideal, this can often be brought on when we're going through Virgo lessons, because it's continuation of understanding that perfection is not something that we find. It's what we do with something. It's the ability to do something the best way that we can. Now, Libra offers us a little bit of more of that balancing space, the space by which we recognize and identify what it is that we're trying to do better, right? It's a lot of that. I keep on hearing, like, it's a lot of that work in relationality to making things energetically easier. With the eight of cups and the Six of Swords also talks to us a lot about very much about the nature of change, or what it feels like as we're navigating change. So what we're effectively seeing that is potentially occurring right now, particularly in relationality to this work that we see, has to do with, and we're going to talk a lot about this because I feel like it's having a lot, like there's a lot of activation right now that's happening for the energy in separation. This is a further continuation and potentially seeing that we're reading into a lot of moon lessons here. And what do we see with the moon card? The moon card is a card, and we're going to be talking a lot about this in the class that we'll be teaching next month in relationality to it. The moon card is a card about introspection. It's the understanding that via the ability to recognize and identify the work of the self, that is how we're effectively able to move through things more effectively. It's not enough just to have a manifestation goal. It's not enough just to have an aspiration, but one also has to be able to embody or move towards the things it takes to energetically get there. And so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now. This is what I meant in terms of seeing like about 3 different modalities that we see in separation right now. And it's very common for us to see a lot of the fragmentation occur when we see a shift in the energy that is in separation, given the fact that we recognize that that energy shifted right around the time that Uranus stationed retrograde prior to moving into this eclipse cycle. I either see it's not the fact that there aren't some energies right now in separation that are working through restoration, but it is I keep on hearing they're receiving true apologies. And what is effectively a true apology? It's the ability to articulate an apology, but not necessarily with any determination in terms of getting something back from it, right? There's a lot of I've got here like this energy that is particularly articulating something to another to be able to express like the full force of their energetic meaning. There's almost like I keep on hearing like the true apology that carries sorrow towards it because, and I keep on hearing like some of that sorrow is energetically directed towards the self in relationality to what they're observing or what they're working to change within the self. So I keep on hearing even the apologies are moon apologies because they're apologies that recognize what one is trying to fix within. Now, this brings us to the energy that is closing out energetic cycles right now. And this is why I keep on hearing that if these are situations where they were waiting for another to come towards them with that sense of restoration, but instead they're receiving mollification, right? Not potentially the ability to articulate upon what's changed, but almost seeing if another person has no longer has feelings upon something that they felt energetic, strong feelings towards. This could be a time of karmic cycles reaching a point of closure. But what I keep on hearing, what's nice about those, I mean, it's not that it's nice that they're reaching that point of karmic closure, but it's the observation of having different standards. It's the observation, being able to see something that they're working on like understanding what their manifestation goals are and being able to see the lack in relationality to what's effectively missing. This is what's allowing a lot of that energy I keep on seeing like working through the letting go process of some of that energy. But also feeling, I keep on hearing like also feeling restored or feeling validated as it relates to a decision or determination that they made towards their manifestation goal, right? The space by which we understand that when we move towards our manifestations, we often receive clarity on things. And that ability of having that clarity, it's heavy, but it's fortifying. This brings us to a lot of the energy that is deep within divine union right now. We're moving deeper into divine union. These are those temperance relationships that we articulated. I keep on getting center card for today's spread. Yeah, I keep on getting the space. I keep on seeing that for a lot of these energies, we've got the King of Swords coming through and it's reversal. We've been having this, I believe I got to just check, but like I feel like with this King card has been coming up a bit in our readings. But the reason I keep on seeing the fact that the King card's coming up so much in our readings right now, it has to do, well, it's interesting because it's very much in alignment with the reading that we had yesterday. We ended the reading yesterday with the Page of Swords in its reversal, right? We ended the reading yesterday with the Page of Swords in its reversal. So we see almost in a way like the pinnacle of the Page of Swords moving into the King of Swords in its reversal can talk a lot about the space by which we feel energetically, and we're going to talk about this too. It's the space by which we articulate or identify how we express or how we share upon things. Now, the reason I keep on seeing this, remember I said it's interesting because I just keep on getting the fact that the energy moving deeper into divine union right now is going through a solar plexus opening. And why are we getting the fact that they're going through a solar plexus opening? Because I keep on hearing the same thing. It's not the fact that they were keeping things. I keep on hearing it's not the fact that they were keeping things from one another in relationality to something that they experienced. But I keep on getting the same message in relationality to some of these temperance relationships, which is there's a time to speak upon things. And I keep on hearing that there's something about that time that almost is allowing that observation of readiness, as it were. Because I keep on hearing that the work, like this, I got to tell you, these temperance relationships, they've been through some stuff. They have been through some serious, serious trauma. And I keep on seeing it's not the space. I keep on hearing it's like they didn't go into depth in relationality to the trauma that they experienced, because I keep on seeing that they wanted to spare each other from a lot of that intensity. And this is what I keep on hearing. It's potentially getting more intense in those partnerships because it's the energy that's almost like in the space by which they're ready to articulate to another, the ready to articulate to another, the full space of intensity by which they experience something that they're working to resolve or energetically heal from. So there's a lot of that, like, I just keep on getting, it's a history that is getting fortified by understanding the energetic shape of it. This brings us to the fourth and fifth cards of our 5-card spread. These are our magician partnerships that were coming together between the solstice period up until the time of Mercury and Venus stationing direct behind Neptune. Yeah, a lot of sword, like, man, this is a lot of sword energy here right now. A lot of sword energy here right now. We've got the 9 of Swords in its upright and the 8 of Swords in its reversal. Now it's interesting because we gotta talk a little bit about what we're seeing that's happening right now. You know, particularly and especially with a lot of this like scorpionic moon energy, because it's working through the context of transformation, right? Like the context of transformation right now has to do, and I keep on seeing, like, remember how I said that the energy that is the energy moving deeper into divine union, they're going through a maturation process that's transforming the energy outside of partnership. And I keep on seeing it's hard because I keep on hearing the energy saying to each other, we can't touch Saturn's lessons. And why is the energy saying we can't touch Saturn's lessons? Because if you're moving into union and it's a point of celebration and you see somebody in a state of rumination, touching that doesn't fix it. Sometimes it makes it worse. So that's why I keep on seeing these energies that are working through something to a certain extent. And this is how they're trying to like clear it between themselves. They're articulating upon the fact that they may understand fully what is happening in something outside of partnership, but they're also identifying that some things we can't do anything about. And that's why I just keep on hearing for a lot of those partnerships right now, they're working through the lesson that we can't touch Saturn's lessons, which is sometimes if there's something that time can resolve, if we touch it, we don't fix it, we make it energetically worse. Continuing to get clarification between our 8 of Cups in combination with our 6 of Swords in its upright. We've got here the World card in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about this World card in its reversal. Because the World card in its reversal speaks to us in relationality to what we're working on resolving, or what we're working on doing better, like what we're working on like adjusting and accommodating for. And this is the thing that we effectively see potentially happening, especially with a lot of this World card in its reversal. The energy, how do I describe this best? The energy in separation right now. And I feel like that's the hard part when we're going through retrograde seasons, like the one that we're currently experiencing. And then we've got Scorpio moon energy, because it's typically Scorpio energy has a tendency of feeling energetically mysterious. Okay. I want to focus on that. There's always and we've been talking a lot about this, scorpionic energy always has that air of mystery to it. And the problem is when we're going through a retrograde and then we've got Scorpio moon, it can start feeling really, really energetically cryptic. Okay. Don't let yourself get too affected. And it's not helpful. It's also not helpful the fact that we've also got Pluto in retrograde too. Okay? It's and I keep on describing the fact that Pluto in retrograde often feels like a haunted house in the summertime, right? it's like something that feels creepy, but it's out of sync with the energy around it. But the thing about it now is it's working through, it's working through a lot of that energetic creepiness to a certain extent, but not letting it effectively, not letting it get affect you is all I keep on seeing. So just I keep on hearing, making sure that one is being energetically productive, making sure that one is able to articulate upon things that and I keep on getting it's just the fact that it's weird energy. Now, one of the things that I see even here though, and I need to stress this for energy and separation, I almost keep on seeing the weird being the space and I need to stress this too, when we start to heal, things start getting weirder for us because it's the space by which we're how do I describe this, when someone is doing something specifically and particularly straight from the ego, it lacks a lot of sense. The ego, and we talk about this, a healed ego is one that is firmly attached to logic. A healed ego is one that is firmly attached to logic. But when we're not in a healthy egoic state, we become we do things more weirdly, specifically and particularly because we're not thinking, we're not working towards adaptability so much as we're trying to identify it's the space by which we're being energetically overprotective. So that's why I keep on seeing, and that's what I mean in relationality to I keep on seeing there is literally some situations right now where energy is potentially coming back towards someone during the retrograde, and the weirdness of them coming back and trying to act like nothing has happened is the space of closure, right? Because it's not the space, I keep on hearing, it's the difference between someone trying to rectify versus someone trying to mollify. And what is the difference that we experience in the space of someone trying to rectify versus mollify? When someone's trying to rectify, they take energetic accountability for something, right? They articulate upon it and they say, this is the work that needs to occur going forward. It's a space by which one is able to articulate and recognize what one is working on doing better. But when one is trying to mollify, it's not the space that one wants to effectively change something so much as the space of one wanting to go back to something. So there's that space by which another person is trying to effectively smooth something over or act like something hasn't energetically happened, that often creates that closure point in relationality to understanding and defining what is energetically achievable versus what one is potentially working to heal from. So that's what I keep on seeing in relationality to some of this energy. I do see a proportionality of energy that is coming into the context of healing. I see the proportionality by which energy is identifying and recognizing what one can do better. And that space is potentially taking accountability, potentially even from something that happened in another eclipse cycle, as it relates to an overproportionality of emotionality in relationality to something as small, not important. But that's why I keep on seeing that the space by which another person comes back towards another, not seeking to bring clarity, but just seeing it's like the space by which another person just sees if someone's energetically available. I keep on seeing it's like the observation of something that is energetically weird that almost allows the context of clarity. And so there's something I keep on hearing that there's something I keep on hearing the weirdness of not bringing clarity is allowing some energy right now to get over something, is all I keep on seeing, right? It's like the weirdness that allows one to effectively move along from it. And so a lot of that space, I just keep on seeing it's frustrating, but it's also energetically fortifying. Now, this brings us to a lot of those new relationships that are coming together right now. And a lot of those new relationships, I keep on seeing there's potentially a lot of delicacy here. There's a lot of energetic care. And the reason we keep on seeing that there's a lot of that energetic care, as it were, has to do with the space, or recognizing and identifying that for some of these energies, they've been wounded by another person's self-deception. And what's so difficult when we experience wounds in relationality to another person's self-deception is not necessarily the space by which another person intended to cause harm to us. But this is why we talk about why it's so important for us to do our shadow work effectively. Because when we do our shadow work effectively, we understand our own, I keep learning, we understand our own frailties, right? We understand our own energetic securities. It's not that we're perfect, but we're working on them. But when we're not, when we don't do that work, we sometimes articulate upon the fact that we want something, but then we don't energetically have the understanding of self that allows us to be able to move in accordance to it. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of those relationships, that observation, that identification point in relationality to that is why there is a lot of this delicacy as it relates to building into these new relationships, because there's a lot of that amplification of care, if you will, that is almost creating the space of being able to not just, I keep wondering, not just speak towards what it is that they desire, but also potentially articulating upon what is going to like looking to, like I keep wondering, it's like they're looking at each other's books in the space of saying, like, they're sussing each other out to see, right, if what they're articulating feels like it's in accordance to what they see around them. Right. It's like, it's a lot of, like, I keep on hearing, like, it's a lot of that. It's giving me a lot of auric work, right? Which is like, the auric work is the space by which you see, like, not just that we articulate something, but the aura around someone gives us indications of what it is that they're like, what it is that they're trying to bring forth. Now, for the energy that is moving deeper into divine union right now, for a lot of that energy moving deeper into divine union, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of that energy, clarification between our Six of Swords in its upright and our King of Swords in its reversal. Yeah, there's that Four of Pentacles again. We had that coming up earlier this week. The thing with the Four of Pentacles is, I just keep on hearing when I'm reading for these temperance relationships, I'm finally ready to tell you, right? And why are they saying I'm finally ready to tell you? Because it's the observation. I keep on hearing, it's not the fact that they haven't told one another. It's not the fact that they haven't articulated to each other what their energetic histories are. But something that's important about that is, I keep on seeing that they keep on saying that the space by which they didn't tell another person how much something impacted them, how much something it hurt them. Like, this is what we can often see when we've got Eris and Chiron that are both retrograding in such close proximity to one another. It's being able to see how far the wound goes, right? Just how deep the wound goes in relationality to something. So this is almost like the space by which, if someone articulated upon something that happened to them in the past, this is the moment, like I keep on hearing, like, this is the energy moving deeper into divine union that is finally ready to expand or expound to one another, just like the full intensity of something that they experienced from the past. Now, this brings us to the energy that's moving deep within divine union, those magician partnerships, clarification between our King of Swords in its reversal and our Nine of Swords in its upright. We've got here the Death card in its reversal, and we like to see the Death card in its reversal here because it's a continuation of what we keep on seeing, like the energy that's moving deep within divine union right now. They're going through ironic situations, right? They're going through situations as they move deeper into divine union. I keep on hearing the space by which they're going through a maturation point by saying you can't touch Saturn's lessons, which is the space by which they may potentially observe something that is happening outside of partnership. They're understanding the full understanding as to why, but they're also recognizing the difference between something that they can do about or something that another person has to heal from. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of that work, like navigating through those sensitivities, they're healing their relationship to Saturn, because not only do they observe it, but they're remembering back to a way that they themselves felt that way. And they're giving each other support along the way. continuing to get clarification between our Nine of Swords in its upright and our Eight of Swords in its reversal. We've got here the Ace of Swords in its reversal. We've been getting a lot of ace cards recently. This week has just been like ace central. We've had 2 different days where we had like 3 of the 4 ace cards on the table, which is pretty unique. Now, one of the things that we're effectively identifying here in relationality to some of this work that we're seeing has to do with the observation. And this is what I keep on seeing with the energy in separation. I feel like there's something important with the energy in separation, in the observation of what feels energetically possible, right? Like the difference, I keep on hearing the difference between like, and this is what I keep on seeing that's really hard for energy and separation right now. And it's a continuation of what it takes to build into healthy manifestation with counterpart, right? It's not just the space by which we articulate upon the things that we're energetically trying to do, but it's also the space by which we feel that sense of celebration as we do so. And so I feel like there's something really important about that work right now, because I keep on seeing that, you know, for the energy that's receiving those, I keep on hearing energy that's receiving those heartfelt apologies. I keep on seeing that it's almost like leading to this like moment of soul searching as it relates to something that was experienced versus how one moves forward from it, right? I keep on getting that articulation point of, I keep on seeing like the apology, like the true apology that doesn't have anything connected to it. It's just effectively, I keep on hearing it's almost given to another to help us on our own journey, is what I keep on seeing, right? So there's something about the energy that's receiving those true apologies that feels really, really cathartic. While at the same time, I keep on hearing, like, I either keep on hearing cathartic or that's it, right? Cathartic or that's it, which is the observation of energy that is potentially working through something. They weren't waiting. I keep on hearing they were in separation. They weren't waiting for an energetic rectification point, but they were potentially hoping. And what is the difference? Again, we're going through Uranus and Gemini cycles. What is the difference between waiting and hoping? Waiting is like staying stagnant and anticipating something to occur. Energy being patient was moving forward, but holding potentially some hope of something from the past that still had an opportunity to come back towards them in such a way that could allow for the understanding of progress to occur, especially if these were separations that occurred in the space by which there was a conversation on manifestation goals. And that's why if someone was getting emotional about getting clarity on a manifestation goal and another person moves away from us, if this is the energy that has someone come back and instead of them saying, I'm ready to talk about it, they say, how you're doing. Like, this is the energy that I keep on hearing. That's the energy that says, that's it. You know, like, that's the energy that says, like, that's it. And it's like, and that I keep on hearing, like, that's it is like the space by which they feel like I keep on hearing it's like they're working through the devastation of the fact that another person is not trying to rectify, but trying to mollify, which is coming back to see if another person is still in a space by which they're being energetically emotional. I keep on hearing the energy that keeps on saying, I wasn't being emotional, I was being fundamental, right? There wasn't something there. Like, it wasn't, I keep on hearing it's like when we're talking towards our manifestation goals, it's not, when we're talking towards our manifestation goals, it's not a phase. It's like, it's not a phase. When we're talking towards our manifestation goals, it's not a phase. It's like who we are. And so there's something beautiful about that, because I just keep on seeing it's the energy that is like they're working to effectively resolve something, but even in the space by which they're working to resolve something, they feel fortified by it, right? Now, for the energy that is that is moving into partnership right now. This is why I keep on getting there's a lot of this delicacy here. There's a lot of this trepidation. There's a lot of this energetic caution, if you will, because some of that care that we're effectively articulating or experiencing here, these are energies that have been wounded by another person's self-deception. That's why they're moon partnerships. So I keep on seeing that they're navigating each other carefully because they don't want to be, I keep on hearing, they don't want to be hurt by another self-deception, which is the space by which someone articulates that they desire something, but then they're not bringing the force of intention towards the situation in order to facilitate moving towards it. Continuing to get clarification between our World card in its reversal in combination with our Four of Pentacles in its reversal. We've got here the Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. And there's something here, this has to do with the energy that is moving deeper into divine union. And I keep on hearing the energy deep within divine union right now. They're having hard conversations with one another. They're talking to each other about how difficult something was. And I keep on hearing it's the difference between, and this is what we're going to see a lot of this right now with Uranus and Gemini, things that look similar but are very different. It's the difference between trying to deceive someone versus sparing someone the energetic details is what I keep on seeing, right? There's something really important there. And I keep on seeing the energy understands one another in that context because I keep on hearing that these were temperance relationships, which is often, and we kept on hearing this when we were reading into them, they go through the work so that others don't have to. So the space by which they were energetically sparing each other details is almost articulated upon the fact that they were going through something that was energetically difficult from the past, but they weren't centering that conversation as they were moving deeper into partnership. And the reason is, I keep on hearing, they didn't want the trauma to be centered in the relationship. So that's why I see that they feel like this is the season in their relationship that they can finally kind of open up fully to each other in relationality to how difficult something was or how hard it was to go through. This brings us to the Four of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Death card in its reversal. Yeah, there's that Hangman. And this is the thing, the energy deep within divine union right now, these magician partnerships, there's something, I keep on saying, there's something really important there in relationality to, I feel like it's almost like it's a sublime, it's like they're going through a sublime process right now. And the reason I keep on hearing that something is energetically sublime is sublime means subliminal, right? And the reason we keep on seeing subliminal is because you have to understand, like I said, the space by which they're recognizing something that they cannot effectively touch, that again, they understand completely, they cannot touch. And if they touch it, it would actually make the possibility of it healing worse. That is a subliminal moment because the reason it's subliminal is because it's very nuanced. It's very complicated. It's understanding the energetic delicacy of something, right? And so I keep on hearing that they're potentially having those subliminal moments right now with one another because they're saying they're literally articulating to each other what's happening outside of partnership, not by talking about the person, talking about their own history. Which is saying when I felt that way, I recall when I felt that way, this wouldn't have served me or this wouldn't have helped me, right? So they're going through very subliminal lessons in relationality to being able to look towards, and again, the moon's in Scorpio, being able to look towards their past history with a sense of observation and being able to effectively apply it to a current situation. Now, this brings us to the energy. This brings us to the energy that is coming in separation between our Death card in its reversal and our Ace of Swords in its reversal. Yeah, there's that Six of Cups in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about the Six of Cups in its reversal. Like the Six of Cups in its reversal has to do with unhealed karmic situations and circumstances, you know? And the thing about it, and like this is what like is sometimes really difficult for us to recognize. Not all karma it's not about healing all karma, right? The experience of being is not the experience of being okay with everything. It's the experience of understanding why something isn't okay, is what I keep on seeing. And so, I feel like there's something like I keep on hearing for some of the energy in separation. I feel like I see like these are effectively the three tiers I see right now for the energy in separation, right? Which is, we see here with the Hangman in its reversal, like if there is some kind of restoration coming, someone being like, look, and I like this about it, it's the energy that says, I'm not bringing that apology to you because I feel like it's going to change anything. I'm bringing that apology to you because I almost hear the energy saying I'm serving the higher self in the process, is what I keep on hearing the energy stating. It's almost like the energy that is like they're moving. I keep on hearing they're moving in service to the higher self. And even in the space by which they're observing that and recognizing it, I keep on hearing it feels cathartic, right? While I also see that if these are situations or circumstances where another person is trying to mollify something, right? Not necessarily energetically addressing something, but more in the space of kind of coming back to another person to see if they're still in the same emotionality by which they moved away from them. Everything I keep on seeing in relationality to that work is speaking towards, I just keep on hearing it's speaking towards the energy that is saying, like, is making peace with something. And I keep on hearing, like, this is the energy that, they were holding hope, but now they're making peace, is what I keep on hearing. They were holding hope, but now they're making peace, which is accepting the space by which them and another individual may desire different things. While for the energy that is moving towards one another, these are the wounds that they're carrying with them into partnership. They've been hurt before. And I keep on hearing that the problem with a little bit of that pain is the fact that it's not I keep on hearing the pain wasn't intentional. It potentially had to do with another person's, misunderstanding of the self, right? It's not just enough to articulate that one is like, it's not just enough to articulate that one desires something, but also one needs to move in accordance towards it. So something that I'm seeing there in relationality to that is almost speaking into the space of the energy, taking time to get to know one another. And there's something about them taking time to get to know one another that almost speaks towards the fact that the energy is like, I keep on hearing like cautious, but energetically optimistic. We've got two cards coming out right now to clarify between our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Hangman in its reversal. And we've got here the Empress card and the Nine of Cups. So we like to see these two cards together. We like to see these two cards in combination because the Nine of Cups with the Empress speaks to us, like it speaks to us of circumstances, and it speaks to us like, and this is what I mean in relationality to, and this is speaking directly to those temperance relationships that we spoke about. The space by which we effectively expand or expound upon something. And so this is what I meant about some of the energy right now. The temperance relationships, they're not going through a heart opening. They're going through a solar plexus opening, because it's not the fact that they're sharing to each other how much they care about each other, right? If they were talking to each other about how much they care about each other, they'd be going through a heart opening because they'd be telling them the full depth of how they feel towards one another. They're going through a solar plexus opening because they're telling someone the depth of a wound that they experienced. They're going deeper into their own energetic history. They're not They're not glossing over it. They're expounding upon it. They're speaking about the energetic. They're speaking about the energetic weight of something that they're carrying, right? And I keep on seeing that for a lot of that energy, that ability of articulating or sharing each other's burden, right? Like I keep on seeing like this is the energy that almost, and I keep on hearing that this is how they're clarifying it to each other. They're even saying, they're like, I didn't want to overly speak upon it because it's talking about, I keep on getting the message that our trauma has a season, right? Which is the space by which we there's a space by which we unpack our trauma, right? There's a space by which we allow ourselves to feel the intensity of it. And then there's the space by which we put it away, right? Because we don't want to energetically center it. And this is the energy that's almost saying, like, I'm ready to share this with you right now because it's something that I keep on hearing. It's something that they feel like, it's almost like something that they feel that they would rather like energetically avoid, but it's almost the energy that says like I want you to understand like the full like weight or of enormity of something in order to understand the self deeper. So there's a lot of, I keep on hearing like there's a lot of that energetic connection that's happening there. Whereas for the Hangman in its reversal, in combination with the Six of Cups in its reversal, we've got the Justice card in its reversal. Now, this is speaking again towards the energy that's moving deeper into divine union. That's like, I keep on seeing like the problem with it is, and I keep on seeing like the thing I keep on seeing that's happening for energy that's moving deeper into divine union right now has to do with the observation that we never aspire for our joy to hurt each other, is what I keep on seeing. But that's why I keep on seeing like this is often what we experience when we're going through maturation processes, right? Often the maturation process is the space by which something positive is occurring and the energy around us doesn't see it in the same way, right? Like it's the maturation space in terms of we trying to articulate upon something that feels positive and beneficial for us. And sometimes those fracturing points that we have in maturation processes is the modality where we realize that we're navigating something from a place of happiness, but others aren't effectively seeing it in that way, right? The separation of understanding like what that energetic breakthrough point demarcates. And so I keep on seeing that for some of the energy right now, they're working through the energetic unfairness of following their bliss, right? And the space by which they're navigating and saying like bliss shouldn't feel like this, or the space by which one finds energetic bliss in partnership that shouldn't create the feeling of another being energetically reactive to it because they're not maturing in the same modality or the same way that the energy that's moving deeper into partnership. So I keep on seeing that it's giving me a little bit of that slow and steady energy that they're navigating as they're going through that, because it's almost like the energy that articulates upon the unfairness of something, and then they immediately receive the confirmation from one another about the unfairness of a situation. Continuing to get clarification, final card for today's spread between our Nine of Cups, our Empress card in its upright, and our Justice card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our Ten of Swords in its upright. Now, this Ten of Swords that we saw was actually coming through. The Ten of Swords that we saw was actually coming through yesterday. It was at the top of the spread and it was in its reversal. So what are we effectively identifying right now with the Ten of Swords being in its reverse, like in its upright? It's working through the space that there's a lot of energetic closure that we're identifying that's happening right now in the span of this eclipse process. And I keep on getting it's a continuation point as it relates towards understanding the difference between dispassion and compassion. The space by which we communicate upon something that we energetically care about versus the space by which we follow our emotions and try to find validation for them. So, one of the things that we're effectively seeing that is potentially happening right now in relationality to a lot of this work is the energy that's effectively articulating or working through the space of being able to identify or recognize that. And I keep on seeing when we are feeling dispassion, we're deep, 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 deep into our egoic process. It's the idea that we hold on to something because it feels good to hold on to it. Not necessarily because it's right. Not necessarily because it is something that is something that is shared or something that adds benefit to the world around us, right? And often when we're working into a space of dispassion, right? And sometimes the hard part is dispassion and compassion can look very, very, very energetically similar in the space by which another person tries to say that they're following their passions and then realizing that that's not necessarily the space by which they're bringing logic to it. They're just doing things that feel energetically indulgent to the self, right? The space by which one feels energetically valid or validated in terms of feeling better about the self. And that's a lot of that feeling of energetic condemnation that we put in terms of those around us. So it's not, I keep on hearing, a healthy spiritual journey is not one that makes you feel that you're better than everyone else in the space by which you feel or experience something. So too, we take this same work into the context of relationships, because when we're working towards healthy relationship, it's not just the relationship that feels good, it's the relationship that feels good and is good. It's the space by which we feel the positivity of being in the partnership, but also with the energetic clarity in terms of what the direction of the relationship is. And this is why, if these are situations with energy and separation that separated at a time of trying to ascertain the manifestation goal of partnership, and this is the energy that may have felt a lot of emotionality that came up because they were trying to get a clear direction sense in terms of where something was going, and another person tried to articulate that another person was being emotional in the space of asking for clarity of direction. This is the energy that understands and recognizes the difference between what feels like mollification, right? The space by which another person comes back to see if another person still feels that way, versus the space by which another person is ready to energetically work something out and to provide that sense of clarity. So that's why we keep on seeing that for a lot of these relationships, that ability, right, going through the retrograde, something from the past returning and articulating to another and saying, I wasn't being emotional, I was being fundamental. Right? Like the space by which another person checks and another person says that was what you were experiencing there was not an overabundance of emotionality. It was the desire to effectively seek clarity. What we're effectively identifying here is this is the energy that is now working to fundamentally heal from something with the affirmation or the recognition of the fact that there may be someone that doesn't hold the same standards as them. So there may be something heavy there, but it's something that is energetically cathartic because it's helping them move forward. Now we see even now that for a lot of those relationships that are potentially moving deeper, like for a lot of these new relationships, this is where all of this trepidation is coming through. A lot of that trepidation is the observation or the recognition of effectively potentially experiencing these modalities or moments where these are relationships where individuals have been hurt by another person's self-deception, which is not enough to say that one desires something, but also to be in the environment by which one is moving towards it. So that's why we see that like a little bit of this energy, it's like optimistic, but it's careful. Right? There's a little bit of this trepidation there, but they're certainly learning to trust one another as they continue forward. This brings us to the energy that's moving deeper into divine union right now. This is further confirmation that we're seeing in relationality to those situations and relationships as it relates to being able to articulate to another the full depth of intensity of something that one experienced or went through. For a lot of these relationships, what we're effectively seeing is that conversation, the ability to basically say to another person, I feel like I'm ready to tell you the full scope of something. It's not the fact that they weren't being authentic to one another, but they were sparing each other the pain that they potentially experienced as it relates to past relationship. So for a lot of that relationship or a lot of that work that we're potentially seeing right now, It's like, it's almost like it's like having the conversation that's hard to have, because when we build the empathy in one another, it's not just the fact that we talk about something hard that we experience that hurts us, but potentially the observation that it feels like it's like the another who simultaneously feels that same empathy for us in the space by which we articulate it. This brings us to the energy that is deep within divine union. And so for a lot of the energy that is deep within divine union right now, this is that frustration point, because I keep on seeing they're going through look but don't touch circumstances as it relates to situations outside a partnership, which is potentially seeing something, having a full understanding of what's going on, but feeling the frustration of not being able to do anything about it. Because again, if someone has strong feelings at the moment that you move into union, it's not like it effectively changes things. It doesn't change the energetic shape of something. It's just something that you see and you hate to see it. And that's why I keep on hearing they're healing from Saturn's lessons, because they're hoping that's something that can adjust or change with time. Bottom of the deck on this reading, we've got here the Three of Swords in its upright. So what do we effectively identify with the Three of Swords? So we basically got with the Three of Swords a lot of the work that comes up when we're going through Scorpio moon cycles. A lot of the energy of the past, like a lot of and I got to tell you, the thing with this energy right now, this energy is like massively strong for projections. When we're not doing our shadow work effectively, it's very easy with all of this Aries energy to have those who get more projecting or trying to push something outside of the self because they haven't worked on healing the fear from within. So if you're feeling a lot of this intensity right now, make sure that you're processing through it in a productive way. And that doesn't mean that you can't ask questions. It doesn't mean that you can't be introspective. But the one thing that you really want to avoid, especially with this retrograde, is getting into a space of being energetically judgmental to others. I like to point out a healthy spiritual journey is not one that feels like one person is better than another. It's understanding that we're all energetically working through difficulties together. And that ability of being able to work through things, I keep on seeing like the hurdle with a lot of this retrograde that we're going through right now is it's a combination of the fact that we've got Chiron and Eris in retrograde. So it's not only the fact that we're working through a lot of difficult things, but sometimes the feeling, and we're coming out of that Virgo cycle, the feeling of something that feels very, very energetically personal, right? Something that feels coincidental, but it feels energetically personal to the self. So make sure that you're having compassion as it relates to how you feel about things or what you care about. And that doesn't mean you have to be nice about everything, right? Compassion isn't about being nice upon things. Compassion is being able to communicate what you care about. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving it. Just a reminder, if you'd like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you don't do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site, so I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the star card. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, October 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies on the tarot with a focus on the moon card. If you'd like to become part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied thus far prior to beginning those classes. But the material is there for you to receive if you're ready to receive it. And you'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to my stack, not only will you receive a discount on the whole year's worth of classes, you'll also have full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. That is access to over 19 hours worth of material in an ever-expanding library. You'll also have access to a one-on-one mentorship class with me if you you choose to receive one, where I will meet with you to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your impact moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. I'll also let you guys know you also have access to my Mystic Meditation articles, which will give you updates to everything we've been experiencing in the cards in article form. I just wrote one recently about this new moon that we just experienced. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. And we will do this again